Hey friends, I hope you're all doing well and welcome back to another video. About 2 weeks ago, I hopped on a train from London to Exeter to spend 3 days exploring the English countryside around Devon. I really love filming these travel vlogs for you all, so I hope you're all able to unwind a little. Maybe go grab yourself a yummy drink and some snacks. And now let's get into my bookish trip to Exeter. Early in the morning on June the 12th, I made my way over to London Waterloo to catch my train to Exeter St David's, but I arrived about half an hour early, so I decided to browse through the Foyles bookshop at the train station to kill some time. I actually ended up being almost late because I got a little bit carried away at the bookshop, as I always do, but I came across a couple of new titles that I hadn't heard of before, so I added them all to my want to read pile on Goodreads. But then I received a text from one of my friends saying that she was already on the train, so I rushed out of the bookshop and made my way onto the train just in time. I think the train ride to Exeter from London takes about 3.5 hours to 4 depending on the train that you get, so my friend and I settled down for a long journey ahead of us. Just for some context, the two of us live around London, whereas our other friend studies at Exeter University, so the plan was to meet up with her there. Anyways, on the train, we both ended up doing some work. I was editing a video for a while before picking up Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf. I didn't have very many pages left to read, so I managed to finish the book and then moved on to Jasmine Tea by Eileen Chang, which I was eagerly anticipating. I'll probably share this in a recent reads video or June reading wrap up, but both of these books disappointed me, to be completely honest. With both books, there were moments that I really loved, but in general, especially when it came to Mrs. Dalloway, I struggled to get through the story, which was really unfortunate, but I was glad to have given it a shot at the very least. And before we knew it, we'd arrived at Exeter, so we dropped our luggage off at our friends and then ate lunch together, and then we headed out to go and visit the very first beach of the trip, which was Dawlish Warren. The weather was sunny at times and drizzly at others, but it was such a breathtaking, rugged landscape to be greeted by, and we had a lovely but very wet walk down the beach. And then when it started getting a little late, we decided to call it a day and headed back to Exeter. We even stopped by a little free library in the city centre, as well as said hi to a very friendly and adorable cat. On the morning of the 13th, my two friends went on a run around the pier, but I am not a runner, so I had a much more chill start to the day, taking a slow stroll to a cafe nearby called Crank House Coffee. I then popped into the Oxfam bookshop nearby to see if there were any second-hand books that I could thrift, and I actually managed to find two books that I really wanted to get, one being The Pickwick Papers by Charles Dickens. The reason why I wanted to buy this was because I found that Charles Dickens used to go to a pub in Exeter called the Turk's Head very frequently, and he even had his favourite writing spot. It was there he wrote part of the Pickwick Papers and came up with the characters. However, I already have quite a lot of classics that I haven't read yet on my TBR, so I decided to leave the copy behind for someone else instead. Instead, I left with a copy of the Kamogawa Food Detectives, which I was very excited about. By the time I came back to the accommodation, my friends were ready to leave, so we headed off to the train station together to spend the day in Totnes. I made a reel about this part of the trip that you might have watched already, but I think visiting Totnes was my favourite part of the trip. We visited so many beautiful bookshops here, including Castle Books, which was a second-hand bookshop, and my friend even managed to find a copy of Babel by R.F. Kuang. I didn't find anything sadly, but I did really love the way that they displayed some of the books outside the bookshop. We then walked over to the historic town centre, and we didn't even realise, but we happened to visit on their market day, which was such a lovely surprise. There was so much to see and to eat, and we spent a good chunk of our time admiring the different market stalls. After filling our stomachs with incredible food, we explored the rest of Totnes, popping into different independent shops that lined the high street. There were so many incredible small businesses to support, and the three of us had so much fun walking into each shop to see what there was. amazed by how many incredible bookshops there were, and amidst the different ones that we visited, the Eastgate bookshop really stood out to me, not only because of how beautiful the shop looked, but because they had such a huge range of books. The three of us all enjoy reading, but we can have quite different reading tastes sometimes. I like to think of us as a Venn diagram where sometimes we overlap, and then there are some genres that I typically stay away from that another friend really enjoys, for example. But we managed to find different spots of the bookshop to settle in, and because they had a 3 for 2 offer taking place, we each managed to find a book we wanted to take home, which was amazing. Just before we headed back to the station though, we decided to give our legs a bit of a rest at the Totnes Library, as well as indulging ourselves in the most delicious ice cream. Anyways, that was how we spent the first half of our day in Totnes, and then we went to hop on another train to go on a whistle-stop tour of Torquay. I can't even remember how many train rides we had over the entire weekend. It was definitely a lot, but I do love train journeys, so I didn't mind at all. Initially, my friend had planned for us a day trip to Dartmoor, but on the morning of the 14th, we actually woke up to the news that there were landslides across Dartmoor, which obviously meant that it was unsafe for us to hike there, and all our train tickets ended up getting cancelled. So we did change our plans last minute. So instead of heading off to Dartmoor, we had a lovely morning walk to a cafe where I ate a giant cinnamon bun and drank blueberry matcha. And overall, we just had a really lovely, quiet morning, browsing books and visiting local shops, as well as seeing the beach for a little bit as well. And before I knew it, my short trip to Exeter was already over, and it was time to say goodbye to my friends and goodbye to Devon. This was our third trip together as friends, and we always have the best time. These friends of mine have stuck with me since secondary school, so we go way back and we have a blast whenever we're able to meet up with each other, even though we live quite far away from each other now. But I hope you enjoyed the travel vlog portion, and now let's get into the haul section of the video. Hey friends, so I just got back about a week ago from my trip to Devon, and I've got behind me some of the things that I bought, so I thought I'd share them with you all. As you can see, I did get to visit the Eastgate bookshop, and I mentioned in the video that it was my favourite bookshop that we visited. I loved how everything was curated, and the shop was made up of 2 floors, so it was really cool just being able to explore the different areas. Like I shared over in the voiceover, the bookshop were having a 3 for 2 deals, so my friends and I picked a book out each. So I'll start off with the book that I picked out for that offer. Honestly, there were so many that I could have chosen from, but I ended up going with Graveyard Shift by ML Rio. I started this on the way back from Exeter on the train to London. Last year I read If We Were Villains and I fell in love with that book. It's one of my all-time favourites now, and I raved on and on about it last year about how much I loved the story. So when I saw that this was a part of their 3 for 2 deal, I knew that I wanted to pick it up. I'm not a huge fan, to be honest, of this fluorescent green, highlighter, pukey green kind of colour, but I started this on the way back from Exeter and then I finished it very recently, so it was a very quick, easy read to go through. It takes place on an October evening where 5 different people work the late night shift, and so you see these 5 people come together in the cemetery every evening. But then a mystery ensues when they find out there's a fresh grave that's been dug, or a fresh hole I should say, and so they go about researching what happened, who dug the hole, and why there seemed to be dismembered rats in that hole as well. I had really high expectations for this book because of how much I loved If We Were Villains. I also knew going into it that a lot of people had rated this quite low and said that they were disappointed, so I wasn't quite sure what to make of it, but I knew that I wanted to give it a try, so I bought the book. But when I first started it, I really enjoyed it. It was so atmospheric and moody and exactly what I thought an ML Rio book would read like. But then when I reached the ending, it was really disappointing and I completely understood why people were rating it so low. It felt like the story was cut so short, and of course this is a novella, but still it felt like there was so much more that could have been done with it and so much potential lost. But I still love the writing style and the atmosphere created, and I also really enjoy the concept of these 5 people working the late night shift together. So yeah, this was a bit of a shame, but that was the first book that I did pick up. And then Eastgate Bookshop had a really incredible children's book selection, so of course I grabbed myself a graphic novel, and this is an interpretation of Heidi. It's been adapted by Mariah Marsden and illustrated by Offrede. Heidi is one of those classic children's stories that I grew up reading and adoring, so when I saw this beautifully adapted and illustrated graphic novel of the book, I knew that I wanted to pick it up. I'll share snippets of it now, but honestly I couldn't get over how whimsical and folklore-esque the drawing style was. If you don't know already, Heidi is about a young girl who ends up having to live with her grandfather in the Swiss Alps. Her grandfather though has a reputation of being really mean and grouchy, so the villagers are already worried and concerned for Heidi. But when she gets to the mountains, she comes face to face with the gorgeous meadows and the goats and the alpine landscape, and she also grows to soften her grandfather's heart. The train journey from Exeter St David's to London Waterloo is about 3.5 to 4 hours, and then I also knew that I had to travel another hour from Waterloo station to my house, so it was going to be a long journey, and I thought that if I got tired of reading novels, I could pick up this graphic novel instead to give myself a little bit of a break. And I did end up finishing this all on the train ride back home, and it was so delightful. Highly recommend if you're looking for a cozy graphic novel. And then the final book that I got was The Kamogawa Food Detectives. This is a Japanese novel by Hisashi Kashiwai, and I actually initially started to read this maybe a couple of months ago via Libby, but I didn't get very far into the ebook. So when I saw that this was available at the Oxfam bookshop, I knew that I wanted to thrift a copy of it, and it's in amazing condition as well. It takes place in Kyoto, and you follow a father and daughter who run this diner, but the food they serve isn't just ordinary food. They claim that they are food detectives and they can recreate a particular dish from their customers' memories. I'm expecting a little bit of magical realism in this book. I think it'll be really cozy and heartwarming, so I'm looking forward to picking this one up very soon, and I'm very glad that I managed to pick it up secondhand. Okay, and then next up, I visited this adorable tea shop in Exeter called the House of Hope and Mercy in the Jungle. This bag is looking a little worse for wear now because I had to carry it down with me, but I ended up buying a gift for a friend as well as something for myself. So for myself, I got this bamboo tea strainer. It's so beautiful and I've never seen anything quite like it. As I've mentioned over the past year and a half, I love drinking loose tea leaves, and so this is going to come in super handy. You just pop it on top of your mug or cup, and then you can pop in some tea leaves and then pour water, hot water over the top of it, and this is going to catch all the tea leaves. And I don't remember if I filmed this or not, but I did get a gift for my friend, and for her I got a mini bamboo tea strainer. It's basically a smaller version of the one I got for myself, so I think she'll enjoy it because she does love tea as well. And then last but not least, I got my husband a little souvenir. I don't think I got to film this shop, but this ceramic store had the most incredible selection of little individual mugs. I was so tempted to buy multiple colorways, but the one I eventually went for was this beautiful dark green, almost matcha-like cup with the brown earthy tones as well. Our color palette downstairs is very much made up of greens and earthy browns, so I thought this suited it perfectly. But that's everything for the haul. I really wanted to buy a couple more books and I definitely could have gone way more ham with it, but I had limited space to carry all of this back with me, and I'm also trying to be very mindful of the books that I purchase. Want to finish my TBR shelves first, so I'm very proud of myself for not buying more books and for buying only the ones that I really wanted to read. But I think that's everything, and I hope you guys enjoyed my travel vlog to Devon. I still have a couple more trips coming up this summer, which is really exciting, and I'm super excited to be able to film and share those moments with you guys too. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Thank you so much for staying here with me, and I'll see you guys all in the next cozy video very soon. Bye friends!